Hi, Dove here, and today we have a new episode in the art review series. And today we'll be checking out the work of HXF underscore LS. I'm not sure how to read this in Korean, but yeah. So, by the way, I did see your comments. Apparently, the last two videos, a lot of the characters are from Genshin Impact, and the video before the recent one, the characters are from, or a good amount of them are from Arknights. I believe these are games. As you can tell, I'm not really a gamer, so I'm not really as familiar with the lore of it. But yeah, I think they are popular games. So thank you, by the way, for commenting that, because I have no idea what's happening whenever I do my videos. I just like the artwork, but it's nice to have at least some kind of context. So yeah. Now I do know this is Naruto, so at least I know a little bit. But the rest I have no idea. So working off from it's a similar sort of style from the recent artist we reviewed, the last episode anyway. Very focused on the sketches, which I do like. Like it just seems more. I do like this when they do post like the screenshot of their let's say when they're working on Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint or Procreate, where they actually include the panels, whether it's the brushes or the color palette. It just adds that it's sort of the digital version of a sketchbook, right? And it just has a certain personality to it, like it's made on the spot, you know. Because if you like just publish the finished sort of illustration or image, it kind of takes away from the realness of it. But if you add like this part right here, or if you show a little bit of the UI or the interface of your sketching art program, painting program, it just adds a bit of that realness to it, right? So if you look at the way these drawings are done, the inks are a bit different, I think, compared to the last artist we reviewed. This one, if you look at their line work, it has a little more of that pen pressure variety, meaning it can go from really thin to really thick very quickly. For those of you who have used Concepts app, it's an app. I did download it for my Windows PC, but I believe you can. It's also in like the iOS sort of framework, or Apple. You can use it in your like iPhone or whatever, or iPad. But the point is, when you use the pen tool there, the first default pen, it looks something like this, where it's very dynamic in terms of the pen pressure, where it's not just one solid line, or it's not like because there are brushes out there, pen brushes, where there is pen pressure, but it's so like boring. This one, sometimes there is a certain unpredictability or uncertainty when it comes to it. Like sometimes you can just a little bit of pressure will make it so thick, you know. It's one of those types of brushes, I believe. But yeah, these types of sketches are typically way more fun, and even if they're not fully like rendered, it just feels like, I don't know, like you're having fun, like you're not pressured in any way. And if you look at the way they paint, there's hardly any texture there. That's just a basic round brush. And again, including the Clip Studio Paint color palette panel or color wheel. So here we have a bunch of ink sketches. I do notice a bit of bleed at the ends to sort of give it that natural vibe, traditional vibe. Oh, I like this one where you paint in the white, or you draw in the black first, the silhouette, and then you paint in the white. So pretty interesting. And with these types of sketches, you are playing more with negative shapes, and you're not really using line work to indicate the edges, but rather the contrast between dark and light, and letting that do the work for showing your edges, instead of like something like this where you're using more contour lines. Damn, this guy looks like a K-pop star. You know, it used to bother me seeing these kinds of sleeves, but I've seen it in enough people that I'm like, okay, it's not bad. I think it actually works a little bit, although it helps if you have like nice freaking shoulders because just makes your I think it can make your shoulders pop a little more. You do need to have some muscle definition, like a basic amount, and then the moment you add these sleeves, right, these arm sleeves, it just adds a bit more oomph to your physique. Pretty hot. But again, look at the coloring. I think they're using the same brush for both the inks, the drawing, and the painting. I love the quick sort of shorthand for reflection here, right? Like even if the hair is not fully rendered, it just flows naturally. So that's pretty cool. Here we have some more black and white sketches, a bit of gray here, right? But it's mostly black and white. You'll see this a lot with like animators. They do know how to simplify the figures a lot, and they can emphasize certain movements because obviously you can't complicate things when you're animating. You do have to simplify a lot because it's gonna take forever if you draw every single thing. But I think I've done a couple of art reviews of people who do this kind of style, and they tend to be very good in displaying emotion, right? Emotion, action, story, right? Even if the face isn't even that, it's not even there actually, but just by the way their body is being posed, right? It says something. This chick is a bit rebellious. This chick is sort of a flirtatious, kind of an next girl next door vibe. This chick is more of a boss bitch, or more of like a serious woman, right? Even the hairstyle can even tell a bit of story there. So this one seems a bit more like fashion stuff, or fashion adjacent. Oh, I like this. Look at how the dashy rendering lines. It's not even like everywhere. It's just in the dress. It's so minimal, but it's a good touch. This kind of style, this middle sketch you see over here, you'll see this a lot in like fashion illustrations. They don't really do poses like this as much. They like doing more straightforward. If not side view, it's straightforward. Obviously, it is more about the dress, right? Or the actual attire, but when they do draw the figures, it looks like this. It's very powerful, very authoritative, right? Oh, I love the simple. Look at how the shorts here were done, or this skirt maybe was done. One big silhouette, and then 3 lines to say these. Very minimalistic, but it gets the job done. And it's a good balance because if you look at the top, there's a lot of like folds in this. What do you call this? Tank top, right? Again, look at that. Basic one. It's a round brush with some pen pressure and then some flats, a bit of shadows maybe, but that's pretty much it. And you can get away with a lot just by using these simple tools. I think I found this one first, or this got me. Yeah, I think this is one of the pieces that got me into their work. I saw this, I believe, on my timeline. If not on my timeline on Twitter, it's on Pinterest maybe. Very hot. So this chick is, I think she's wearing some kind of tracksuit. But look at the inks. Very strong shape here. It's basically one big silhouette for the hair. But if you focus in on like the shadow of the underneath the chin, look at how the sort of dashy texture, not texture, but dashy strokes sort of complement that big solid thing. So it adds a little bit of that contrast or variety instead of everything being just one big shape, right? Damn. Maybe she's some kind of Tsundere, It's kind of like a chick who's not very good with. She's kind of mean. I'm not sure if it's a woman if it's like a woman thing. Maybe it's like a guy or a girl thing. Basically, the attitude is, like they like you, but they're kind of mean. Hopefully that's the right definition, but look at how the blush was done here. Soft brush. Everything is still flat, but yeah. The only sort of gradient here would have to be the blush effect coming off from this guy. Wait, is this from the recent anime? Look Backs? I think that's the name of the movie. Hopefully I'm saying it right, but it's basically two manga or comic artists. I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard some good reviews on it. Again, look at this. Very demure. Oh, tongue out. Redhead. So I believe this is the Jujutsu Kaisen chick. The one with the brother complex. The younger brother complex. Oh no. But I love... Oh, it's not in black. Maybe they did do it in black first and then they changed the value later. But I do like the way the hair was done. Very... Just... What's the word? It's not tight, but you can tell where the hair flows. And it helps if you do something like this, where you sort of cartoonize or simplify the characters via the hair or the silhouette. Because I've heard this where good character design, when it comes to like people, obviously, is where you can signify the character even if they're like a simplified form. For example, for Batman, it's always going to be like a head and then two like horns at the top. That's sort of his signature like silhouette or design, right? For example, Goku or any kind of Dragon Ball character, most of them, they have that hair, that iconic hair design where it's like all jaggedy, right? So I think with this form, this one right here, obviously it's the bigger version. There's a lot more detail, but if you can simplify the character here into this sort of silhouette with the hair, that's a good character design. If you can identify the character even in this view, then that's a good character design. Here we have some charcoal sketches. I believe, oh, it's the same chick. The one in the middle anyway, because you can tell again by the hair. Her ponytail is at the front, covering her eye, or both her eyes sometimes. I forgot this guy's name. He's sort of the stud in the show, or one of the studs in the show, or as women would say, Zaddy. Zaddy. I believe he wanted to go to Malaysia and read his books, but obviously we don't all get to have happy endings, don't we? Anyway, oh, I love this one. Yeah. This look where you have black and then one color. Very demure. Oh, look at the white lines there. It just adds a bit of that rebellious sort of look, right? I like this, the maid sketch more, right? I do love the variety of like line work here. You have some big solid shapes for the hair, for the top for this outfit, the gloves, right? And even in some parts the frills right here. But you do get to see way more line work in like the frills, right? And indeed the folds in this sort of flower thing for her head. Look at how simple the face was done. Very minimal line work. The mouth wasn't even shown. But yeah. So here we have another. Oh, I like this one. The right one is sort of my favorite here. Just so cute. Kawaii. You're kawaii. But again, guys, I like to show off my brushes because obviously I have a lot and I do sell them, but whenever I see stuff like this, like I literally don't have any excuses. Because there are people who can get away with just a basic round brush, right? Look at that. Oh. And again, showing off the color palette here, or color wheel. In a way, it just makes you, it proves like you're more of an artist. I don't know, it just adds a bit of that, again, that certain like whip, work in progress sort of vibe, right? I think it's perfect if you're like, if you do a lot of sketches and you're not really into the whole full illustration stuff. If you like sketching more, I think adding these or showing these snapshots where you include some of the UI in your art program, it just adds a bit of that bougie, not bougie, that sort of artsy vibe. Right? Again, look at these marks right here, the patterns, the flower patterns, they were painted on top of the line work. So you have the line work in black. Under that, you have the flats, a bit of soft brush here for the blush effects for her cheeks. And then you do a bit of paint over, but it's mostly with the patterns. I don't see a lot of paint overs in the head. Maybe here for her like tie, Miyu something. It's sort of her, yeah. But they do like to show off the lines more in the face, in the hair. Look at how the hair is done. It's so like smooth and natural. And obviously the face is pretty, right? Oh, you could have they did a flat color for the eyebrows. I would assume you would like draw the strands kind of like you're doing with the hair on top, but you know, I've seen artists, some artists anyway, do this where they just draw the edge of the eyebrows and then they use a flat color for the inside. It's very interesting. And sometimes you can go back and forth with your lines. It's nice if you can do it in like one stroke, but look at the neck here, right? It looks a little, you see a lot of back and forth strokes, but it works, you know. Usually I would avoid this, drawing like a heavier like line weight, but if it's in shadow, it sort of makes sense. Because sometimes when I draw it, it looks like she has like a mini beard or goatee. But in this case, it works because it's in shadow. And when you're doing line work, you learn this a lot from either comic artists or manga artists, people who tend to make artwork with line work, especially with ink, to indicate shadow before they'll even like add flats, because sometimes they won't even add like flat colors or gray halftones. They'll just darken or heavy. They'll not darken, but they'll add more line weight to the side that's in shadow. So that sort of gives you the illusion that that side is in shadow. So you'll see a little bit of that here, I guess. You can tell the shadow is here in the right side of the neck and in the farther part of the body. So obviously the chin, it makes sense that this would be a little darker, right? Whoa, teacher! Although this one should have been a little thinner maybe, but you know, it works. And in a way, if you look at the line work, it does have that ballpoint vibe because the line is not always consistent. So it just gives it that natural feel that you would get when, say, you're using a ballpoint pen. So I guess that's it for this art review of, she's cute. She's kind of like a rock star, rebel chick. Hot. So yeah, that's it for this art review of at HXF _IS or LS. So yeah, that's it for this episode. If you are interested in like sketchy sort of character art, right? Where you're not going full rendered illustration level type of thing, and you're more of the sketcher type, I think this person is, or this artist is, a good example of just relaxing and keeping it simple. Very similar to the artist we reviewed before this episode, but I think this artist goes even simpler, right? So that's it, and hopefully this helps in some way, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.